Hello, and welcome to Heartland Junction. Today we're going to be checking out this, the Kato M2 starter set. Alright, here we are. So we've got the box here. Now, if you guys are returning to the channel, which you probably haven't been because it's been over 7 years since the last time I made a video, you'll know that I originally created this channel to build a layout called Heartland Junction. That layout never really came to fruition. That first update video I did for it was really the last work that ever happened on it. Part of that was due to money, part of that was due to just kind of the living situation and resources and everything. I also was still in that stage of I want to have a layout, but I don't actually want to put in the work to build it. And so several years later, fast forward, I moved out on my own, got myself a house, got myself a train room now, and I've gotten a bit back into the hobby. I'm working on an HO scale layout, which is going to take up the majority of the room. Part of it is over there, the baseboard at least, and it's covered in junk right now because I haven't actually worked on that in a while. But last year I started building a small N-scale layout, which I'll show you in probably a future video, just to get a hang of track laying and scenery and stuff like that. And I had a lot of fun building so much that I decided I was going to build a bigger N-scale layout, kind of maybe try to do something similar, at least to my original vision for Heartland Junction, except it's probably not going to be British themed. It's probably going to be focused around the Burlington Northern, which is one of the American railroads that I was considering doing. And so I decided that instead of going with the sectional Atlas track and the Kato switches that I had done in the previous layout, which is all the materials that I had 7 years ago and just never used, I decided that I would give Kato a try because I've heard a lot of good things about it. I like the built-in roadbed track system, and I've tried the Bachmann stuff before and didn't really care for it. But there was a really great sale at Black Friday, and I was able to pick up this starter set here of the Kato, and so I figured we'd give it a try, see if I like it, and if I want to use this to build that future layout. So let's take a look at what we get here. So the M2, I picked this one. They have two, what they call the master starter sets. So there's M1 and M2. And the M1 is really just your basic oval of track. And then the M2 includes the basic oval set and then the V1, which is the passing siding. So that's what we're going to be checking out today. And I believe that the track in here is going to make us an oval that's approximately 2 foot, I think like 3 inches wide. I don't remember. They have all their dimensions in millimeters because it is a Japanese company. Some of this track is like coming out of the box all over the place. So let's see what we've actually got here. So we get two number 6 turnouts here. So we got a left and a right, and their associated switch throws, which I probably won't be using these because the layout is going to be on DCC, and these require DC power. Now, what I'm told though, from what I've seen in some other reviews of the Kato track and stuff, is that you can power the switch motors, the built-in switch motors, independently of the track power. Which, if that's the case, then we might be able to have the best of both worlds there. Let's grab this out here. So this is the standard DC power pack, which again, we're not going to be using, mostly because I don't own a DC N-scale locomotive. All my locomotives, which there aren't that many at the moment, are all in DCC. So we've got the forward, off, and reverse. If I can pick up a relatively inexpensive DC or DCC ready locomotive, I may do that in the future just so that we can check this out and see how it works. It's a lot lighter than I was expecting. It even feels lighter than like the basic Bachmann DC power pack that comes with their starter sets, which is kind of surprising. I thought this was going to have a bit more heft to it, but it doesn't. The controls feel really good, but it is very light, if that matters to you. Then we've got our US version power pack here. Set that off to the side. Alright, and then straight track. Now we have some of these sectional straights kind of loose in the box here. So I'm noticing the road bed actually looks pretty good. I don't know how well it's going to come out on this camera. This is an older camera. I think it only goes up to 720p or something like that. Then we've got our crossing piece here. So I don't know how well it's going to come out, but it does look very nice. It looks a lot better than the Bachmann stuff. Let's see how the... oh, that snaps together really nicely. There's no play in that whatsoever, which is, well, just a teeny tiny bit, which is going to be good because you don't want it to be too tight, otherwise heat expansion is going to mess up your track. But, yeah, that snaps together with a really satisfying click. So, I don't know how durable it is over time, but it looks like, so these are all independently removable, it looks like, so you can replace them if they break, unlike the Bachmann, which is, it's permanently built into the road bed. So we have two of these, I guess, medium straights, or not sure exactly what the lengths are. I should get my tape measure. So these guys come out to just about 5 inches. And then we have a large assortment of the longer straights. I believe this is the longest sectional straight that Kato makes, and we get, looks like 10 of these. And these, I believe, come out to, I think it's about a foot, if I remember correctly. Not quite, it's about 10 inches. So slightly longer than your standard HO Atlas piece of snap track. And then we have two, what's the dimension on these curves here? I'm not entirely sure, but I know that these are for going with the switch to line it up into a straight piece like that. We'll take a look at when we set the track up here. And then we have a full circle here, which is going to be 8 pieces of the, I think it's the 3rd or 4th radius curve. I'm not positive. It's just over 12 inches radius. So you need, I think, is about 2 foot 3 inches for a full turn there. We've got our track power connector here, which has got the plug-in for the power track, and then this one goes into the controller, but we're going to have to be snipping this off to connect it to my NC power cab. I did order a second piece of power track like this, so that if I do have a DC locomotive in the future, I'll be able to use that one for that and just unplug the NCE. Then we get 4 of these little mini straights here, and this one is the one that has the power connector here. Hope you can see that all right. It's got a little plug-in there on the underside. Actually, let's just grab this guy here and demonstrate that for you. See, does it matter which way it goes? I think it does matter which way it goes in. Alright, yeah, so it just plugs in like there, like so. And then again, the other piece is going to run to your controller, either the DC power pack, or if you're using DCC, you're going to have to snip the wires and connect these directly to your power controller of choice. And then the last thing that we have in here is going to be these little guys, which are sectional pieces that go with your re-railer to make it a level crossing or a grade crossing. And then it looks like there's also some kind of a drawer under here, which is going to have some very interesting stuff. So we've got labels for our switches, we've got a re-railer, and then instruction manual, which is very nice. And then I'm guessing this is some kind of a cleaning pad. Looks like it's also got the rail spacing in there. This is interesting. I'm going to have to take a closer look at that a little bit later on. So that's the basics of what comes in the pack. Now let me go ahead and set it up for you guys. Alright folks, we got the layout set up here. Basic track. We did end up having 3 extra track pieces because the table just isn't quite long enough to accommodate the full set of track that comes in the M2 pack. I did have to rearrange the connections a little bit because I was having some trouble getting the passing track to fit properly in there because things don't line up quite perfectly, especially since I couldn't get the full length in there, but I was able to get it sorted out in the end. So we ended up with an oval that is just a hair under 6 feet long, and then it was 2 foot 3 inches wide there, which is going to be a little bit bigger than the other layout that I was telling you about that I built, which you can get a little sneak peek of down there. That one is 2 foot by 4 foot. So this is what we've got for our test setup. I already connected up the NC terminal there. I had to clip off the connector for the DC controller and hook those wires in there, so we're going to check that out here in just a second. I'm going to grab one of my locomotives and a couple pieces of rolling stock, and we'll see how it does. Alright folks, that's going to conclude our unboxing today of the Kato M2 starter set in N scale. Thoughts on this so far? I really like the track system. The roadbed is definitely a lot better than Bachmann, and it snaps together a lot better. It seems to be a lot more robust. Like any sectional track system that has the built-in roadbed, though, there is a little bit of a downside with the required, length sections. I don't know how you connect FlexTrack to this. I'm sure that there are ways so that you can remove the unijoiner, the Kato unijoiner on the end, and then connect up a regular track to it as well, and then you just have to use roadbed with it so that it's the same height. Not sure how easy that is to do, but I believe that that's an option. The switches worked really nicely. All the track snapped together quite easily. It was very, very tough to pull apart, which is good. It means it's going to be robust. It's going to stand up to a lot of movement, which is good. So you don't necessarily have to have it tacked down. Obviously, with a permanent layout, you probably will be, but if you want something that you're just going to put up, once in a while, whether it's around the Christmas tree or, just on the dining room table or something like that, this seems like a good choice. Based on first impressions, of course. We'll see how it holds up over time. And like I said, I'm going to try to use this Unitrack to build this new N scale layout that I'm working on. We'll see how that goes. I don't know how big it's going to be, whether I'm going to use this table as a baseboard or not, or if I want to try to make something a little bit bigger so that I can accommodate that extra bit of track that I have. I would like to avoid maybe doing just the standard oval, but I don't know how feasible that's going to be. Again, I don't want this to be a massive layout because this room is primarily going to be used for the HO layout. I've got the first baseboard over here off to the side, and then that layout is still going to be expanded back where we have the N scale here, unless I decide to change my mind and move away from building the HO layout and just have a much bigger N scale layout. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet, but I think I'd probably rather have the HO layout be the primary layout. We'll see. I don't really know what things are going to look like at this point in time, but anyway, back to the Kato set. Really great starter set. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to test out the DC controller. If I get my hands on a relatively cheap DC locomotive, like I mentioned earlier, we'll test that out when I get the other power track that I ordered. So I'll be able to run it in either DC or DCC configuration. But yeah, like I said, overall very pleased with it for the purchase. This set, I don't know what it runs for in MSRP. I was able to pick it up on a Black Friday sale for, I think it was around $160, $170. And the store's regular price for it was about $200, and I think they were a little bit lower than other prices I was seeing on like eBay and stuff. So if you can find one for a good price, I would probably recommend trying this if you are looking to get started in N scale. Again, there are other options. You can go for standard, Atlas Snap Track, Pico Mix Track as well, and then of course you have the Bachmann Easy Track, which you get if you get a Bachmann starter set. Although I probably would not recommend that one based on personal experience, but your mileage may vary. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you in the next video. I've got a couple more things that I'm going to be uploading in the next couple weeks. I heard a couple of mystery boxes from Rapido. I've got one in HO and one in N scale. So we got that coming, and probably do some kind of a video showing the other N scale layout that I built to practice doing like scenery and track work and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. We'll catch you in the next one. Have a nice day.